Indecision. It's like a prison. Once you're in a state where you don't know what to do, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go this way? Should I go that way? What should I do? You're stuck. You're in the grey area. This is the worst position to be in. Indecision is a critical state. It's crippling. It makes you feel like you're so stuck. It stagnates your energy. It consumes all your life force. Indecision. So I made the title of this video, Getting Out of the Prison of Indecision, because the truth is, when we make decisions, it's so key that once we've made that decision with God, we stick to the decision. And we don't go back into indecision when people try and persuade us to change that initial decision. So indecision is absolutely crippling. It's so important that you make a decision in life, make it with God, stick to the decision, and move forward. Just keep going. Get out of the mental plane. The mental plane was to be done up to the point where you make the decision. Once you've made a decision, stick with it. So there's two parts of indecision. There's indecision before you make a decision, and there's indecision after, where you're not sure if you've made the right decision or not. When it comes to indecision before you've actually finalized the decision, this one is normal. You're coming to the terms with, okay, what side should I do? What should I do? It's important to really listen to your body, listen to God, and then take your time before you come to that final decision. That definite decision in any aspect of your life that this might be relevant to. But once you've come to that decision, once you've made that decision with God, you have to leave the energy of indifference. You have to step out of that mindset of indifference. Because it's so easy to make a decision after indifference before, indecision. So you were in a state of indecision before you made the decision. And now you've made the decision, you're still in the state of indecision. So you have to get out of it. You have to get out of the grey area. Once you've made a decision, you're no longer in the grey area. So now that you're no longer in the grey area, you have to work to stay out of it. Especially if that decision was made with God. You have to trust that God has made that decision with you. This is the path. This is the journey that you're meant to be on. And you stick on it. This can be hard though. There's always opposing forces. There's always conflicting ideas that can actually make you think, oh, hold on. This is actually, making me want to change my decision. Again, if this is God, what God wants you to do, change the decision, then you take that step. But if you made that decision with God first, it's likely that He wants you to learn and build your mental strength to stand in a decision, because it's so important to learn to stand in decisions. It's important for life. It's important for relationships. It's important for business. It's important for all aspects of your life to be able to stand firm and be grounded and not be easily shaken. So you need to be like a tree. Sometimes it's important to be like a tree where your roots are solid. They're stretched far and wide and deep into the soil. You can't be easily uprooted. And this is how you need to approach decisions. So when you're making a decision with God, it helps you to be more grounded in that decision, because now you're not just making it by yourself, you're grounding that decision in God. And because that decision is grounded in God, you don't need to be in a state of indecision. You can just stay grounded in that. And so yeah, I was reflecting on this because this is very relevant in my own life. When I'm making decisions about what I want to do, sometimes I've made a decision and then I still go into the grey area. I'm like, oh, should I actually do this? For example, I made a decision on the 21st of July to post 3 times a day on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Same, basically, I'm posting my TikToks on YouTube as well. So basically posting 3 times on both platforms for 10 days. I made this decision. And see, when you make this decision, you decide this is what I'm going to do. And you stand on it. I had days, even today, where I was like, oh, should I stick to this decision? Should I not do this? Should I go back? Should I just Like I'd made a decision, but I was still going back into indecision when I'd made one. So you have to remember when you're making decisions, the best thing you can do is make a decision and take the action. Get out of the head, get out of the grey area, and just go. That is how you progress in life. Indecision is so crippling. Indecisiveness is so crippling. I finished reading the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, and it talks about indifference and not indifference. It talks about indecisiveness and how it's what makes people unsuccessful. It's one of the characteristics that makes people unsuccessful. It holds people back. You have to be able to make decisions and stand by them and stick by them and hold them. Even when things are blowing you, you're like a tree. Even when the wind blows, the tree still stands. Even when, like, okay, sometimes a tsunami comes, sometimes you get things that actually uproot trees, but it has to be, that's a whole different thing. The normal winds, the normal strong winds, trees ain't moving. They're so grounded. And even some trees where their roots are so deep, even when tsunamis come, they still stand. So you want to be that tree where your roots are so deep, so expanded and so strong that even when a tsunami comes, even when the opposing forces come, even when things around you are making you feel like, whoa, this is looking a bit too hard today. But you've made that decision already. You got to stick with it. You got to hold it. This is what you need to build, and it's a mental game. It's choosing to really stand in what you say, and this also links to values, your internal values, and your values as a person. Is your word Bible? Is your word integrity? Do you have a high integrity of your word? Is your word what you do? You say what you mean and mean what you say? So if you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and what you've said it to yourself, then you need to carry that out, because your internal audience is watching you, and it's recording and acknowledging that I can't trust you now. I can't trust you because you make a decision and you flop. You do things and then you go back on them. Now your internal audience, yourself, she doesn't trust you anymore when you can flip-flop like this. So when you've made a decision in life, it's so important to stick by it. And I speak to myself when I say this because, for example, the decision I made to post 3 times a day for 10 days, which people do this, it's easy for most people, but I was getting into this routine and trying to like grow my platform. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And me thinking, or me trying to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, that was the opposing forces trying to stop me from getting to the next level. Do you want the opposing forces to win? Do you literally want to not get to the next point in your life and to elevate, to rise, to alchemize, to get to the highest, the best, and most potent version of yourself? You must decide things and get them done. So if there's anything in your life, big life decisions, small life decisions, once you've made the decision, you have to get out of the grey area. The key to this is to ground that decision in God. So before you make that decision, really call on God. God, is this what you want me to do? Once you get that sign, once God speaks to you, then you know, yeah, that's it. It's a go. It's absolutely what God wants me to do. And that's it. And then from there on, you don't look back. Looking back or like being unsure is almost you doubting God. If you made that decision with God, then why are you doubting? Why are you stressing? And this is something that I really need to remind myself of, because a lot of the time I make a decision with God and then suddenly it seems like God goes silent, or you don't really have those signs, but that's not true. God is always confirming, reaffirming, and strengthening you and being with you along each way. You just need to be open to the signs and see them. So keep asking God for signs. Like for me, I got a sign today. After being unsure, I was in the indecision arena again after making a decision. And I was like, God, is this what you want from me? Is this decision the decision that you really want me to continue with. We made the decision together. I felt like I heard you, I got the signs, and I took the decision. And now I'm like a bit worried, like, oh my God. And then I got the confirmation today that this is what God wants me to do. And when you get the confirmations, help it to let those roots get deeper, deeper in God and deeper in your decision. As you listen to the signs, as God speaks to you, confirms things to you, as life is showing you that your decision is the right one, let those roots underneath the soil, let them grow. Let them stretch wide and deep so that your decision becomes more grounded. It becomes more steadfast, more steady, and more trustworthy. You can trust God and you can also trust yourself, and God can trust you too. But obviously God knows us as humans, we're not perfect, so sometimes he just takes us for who we are, whether he can trust us or not. But we work together in the process of, being a partnership and working with God, co-creating with God each day, even with our shortcomings, because we do have them days where we do slip into indecision, we do slip into indecisiveness. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about today, how indecisiveness and indecision is a prison, and it's very important not to stay in it. Get out of it as soon as possible. Remember the feelings you felt when you made that decision. Remember the confirmations you got from God when you made that decision, and let that keep you grounded. And just focus, relax, surrender, leave the rest to God, and just move on. Don't think about it too much. Don't let your mental energy just accumulate from thinking about this thing over and over again. Once you make a decision, just try and move forward in the decision, and try and just believe that God has done it. It's done. God has done it. And for that reason, all you have to do is exercise faith, exercise trust in God, exercise trust in God's ability to give you the capacity to hold this decision, because God gave you the capacity. So you have it. You can withstand the obstacles, the opposing forces, and hold the decisions in life, and go on to really be everything that you need and more. Everything that God wants you to be and more. God is molding you through this time, strengthening your mind, allowing you to really grow deep in him. And it's a beautiful journey. It's such a beautiful journey when you know that God is, he's molding you. He's shaping you through the potential challenges and the obstacles and adversities. They are just building you up as a person into God's warrior. It's warrior training. And it may be painful at the time. It feels like so, stressful, but once you get through it with God by your side through each step, it gets easier because you get stronger. That's the beautiful thing about life. It's not like life gets easier, it's just that you get stronger, so life feels easier. But then life is also easy too. But it's also because you grow to handle life better. And you can deal with the polarity of life, the good and the bad. You can hold them both and be stable and be regulated as a person. So yeah, that's my message for you today. Get out of the prison of indecision. Don't stay there. God helped you to make the decision in the beginning. And remember that. Don't allow people, don't allow circumstances, don't allow fear to make you reverse back to a decision that deep down you know, this is what feels good for my soul. My soul. God led my soul here. God spoke to my soul. He connected with me. And because he connected with me, I have to listen. I have to stand in this. It all comes down to faith and trust as well. That's a big part of it, and surrender. Because sometimes once you've taken the action to make a decision, if you take a second action to undo that decision, that's you not surrendering. Sometimes you take aligned action and then you surrender, you leave it. But if you're in fear or in stress, you tend to keep taking actions rather than just letting God do his thing. So once you take a decision, get out of the state and the prison of indecision, step into surrender, step into faith, step into knowing that this is what God wants. This is your journey, this is your path, and it is working. It is building you to be the best version. You are actually going to shine. You're going to fly. You're going to be who you could never imagine you to be when you trust God enough to stand on the decision that He wants you to make. So thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you was able to take something from it and free yourself from the prison of indecision. As always, follow your purpose, be a light in this world, and I'm sending you lots of love and peace.